Area of a trapezoid.
They didn't invite me, but that doesn't mean anything.
I figured I hadn't done anything. Sorry, seriously.
Good evening. The March 25th meeting of Milltown Borough Council will now come to order. Will the clerk please read the open public meetings statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231 Public Law 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy of the notice on the municipal building, municipal website, providing a copy to the official newspaper of the borough, by filing a copy in the office of the borough clerk in accordance with a certification by the clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Revelinsky. Councilman Collins.
Here.
Councilman Manco.
Here.
Councilman Poznanski.
Here.
Councilman Potter.
Here.
Councilman Zambrana.
Here.
Mayor Murray.
Here.
Borough Attorney Peter Vignola.
Present.
Borough Engineer Mike McClellan.
Present.
Borough Engineer Lou Plascanka.
Present.
Borough Administrator Fred Carr.
Also present.
Borough Clerk Monica Orlando, present.
Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the salute of the flag.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now is the time for public comments limited to the resolutions listed on the agenda. If you wish to speak, please step up to the microphone, say your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no comments, this portion of the meeting is closed to the public. All right. The following minutes on the agenda for acceptance, March 11th, 2024, regular meeting. Are there any comments or corrections? May I have a motion to accept the minutes as typed?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Who's making that motion?
Councilman Potter.
Weren't you not here for this?
Right, but.
I put it as accepting the minutes instead of approving the minutes. Can he, or no?
I'd rather have somebody who was present at the meeting.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries, then I withdraw my motion.
So now we need a motion from somebody else.
I'll make a motion to accept. Qualify that?
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Manco, seconded by Councilman Collins. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Any opposed? The following ordinance was introduced on March 11th and advertised in accordance to law. If any member of the public wishes to comment on this ordinance, they may do so after the reading. Will the clerk please read ordinance 24-1532 by title?
Ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-15, parking prohibited during certain hours on certain streets to impose parking restrictions on the west side of JF Kennedy Boulevard between Violet Terrace and Nicholas Court.
You have heard this reading of this ordinance. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that this ordinance be adopted at second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Potter, seconded by Councilman Collins. Do we have any,
We need to open it to the public.
I will now open it to the public on ordinance 24-1532.
Hey, good evening. My name's Nick Cross, 50 JF Kennedy Drive. So I live on JFK. I live right by Nicholas Court on the corner there. So according to the ordinance, right, we're blocking parking on the west side all the way from Violet Terrace down to Nicholas Court. I live right there. I can tell you that parents were not dropping off their kids on Nicholas Court. There is an issue with traffic and congestion, but it's happening up at the intersection on Violet Terrace, and maybe 200 or 300 feet off that intersection. So the way the ordinance is written, it's kind of a little too broad in my opinion. It's blocking parking all the way down the street, down maybe a quarter mile down to where I'm living. I never had an issue with the parking. Never had an issue with traffic down by my house. I really think it's limited up to that intersection. So, according to this, I'd have to be moving my car 2 or 3 times a day, to avoid a ticket. I utilize the street parking. My neighbors utilize the street parking. So, that's about all I had. Just wanted you to reconsider, maybe limit the scope of the ordinance to where the actual congestion is, and then, otherwise it's going to negatively impact those of us that live on the street. So, thank you.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilman Manco.
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
No.
The following ordinance was introduced on March 11th, 2024, and advertised in accordance with the law. Any member of the public that wishes to comment on this ordinance may do so after the reading. Will the clerk please read ordinance 2453 by title?
Ordinance 24-1533, ordinance amending Chapter 14, Parks and Recreation, Section 6, Borough Pool, subsection 6.3 fees, and Section 7, Recreation Program, subsection 7.2 fees.
You have heard the reading of this ordinance. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that this ordinance be adopted at second reading.
Second.
We have a
Motion.
motion by Councilman Potter, and that was Councilman Collins, that second?
That's correct.
Well, I will now open up the public hearing for ordinance 24-1533. The public hearing is now closed. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilman Menko.
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Authorizing payment of municipal obligations. Will the clerk please read resolution by title?
Resolution 2024-105, authorizing the payment of claims, bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $1,773,149.09.
You have heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Collins, second by Councilman Poznanski. Will the
Any discussion?
clerk please call the roll?
Any discussion?
Discussion.
Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilman Menko.
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
So I'm going to vote no because I usually have the opportunity to review POs, and the BA usually leaves a package for me in the mail when for some reason it wasn't there. So I find that, I don't know who's playing games in the borough, but since we do have a camera in there, I'd like to ask Fred Carr if he could go back and look at the tape to see how the POs that were there weren't there, and let me know. Okay. Thank you.
Consent resolution has been prepared for resolutions listed on the agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and having been reviewed by the Borough Council will be enacted in one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, it will be treated as a separate matter. Any items required expenditure or supported by a certification of funds. If any member of the council wants any resolution acted upon individually, please give me the resolution number and it will be pulled from the current consent resolution.
Yeah.
I'd like to pull two resolutions, Resolution 2024-108 and 2024-109.
I'd like to pull resolution 2024-110.
Okay, will the clerk please read the consent resolution excluding 108, 109, 110?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meetings upon certain conditions, and whereas each of the following resolutions to be presented before the Borough Council at its March 25th, 2024 regular meeting appear to have the unanimous approval of all members of the Borough Council, 2024-107, 2024-111 through 118. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown that each of the above listed resolutions be approved and adopted by the Borough Council with the same legal effect as though each was read in its entirety at the May 25th, 2024 regular meeting and adopted by separate vote.
You have heard the reading of the consent resolution. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that these resolutions be adopted.
Can we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, seconded by Councilman Collins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins.
Oh, I have a question here. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just got this new resolution, 113, and it says to increase the bid threshold, and the other one on 11240-113 says authorizing required disclosure, transfer of primary overhead. We got the same number, the same resolution.
Yeah, it was a last minute change. We can pull that one if you want to discuss it.
What's that, this one?
It's, the correct one is the authorizing the increase of bid and quote threshold, but we can pull 113 out of the consent agenda. Right, Peter?
No, we have a motion.
You have a motion, you have a second, you're about to vote. If you have a question, someone would need to amend their motion, and you need to go backwards if we want to.
Can I just explain it then?
I think if we can get a brief explanation, it might be more beneficial for Councilman Collins to understand what occurred. So, Councilman Collins, I think what happened was there was a question regarding the bid threshold and whether or not it needed to be reauthorized. And in an abundance of caution, rather than not reauthorize the increase in your bid threshold because you have a new QPA, the resolution which was going to rely upon the increased bid threshold was pulled, and this was placed in its stead so that we can make sure that the QPA has the bid authorization up to $44,000.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
So we're voting now. Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Menko?
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski?
Aye.
Councilman Potter?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana?
Aye.
Will the clerk please read Resolution 24-108 by title?
Resolution 2024-108, authorizing execution of shared services agreement with North Brunswick Township Municipal Finance Consulting Services.
What is the pleasure, of council?
Move the resolution be adopted. Wait a second.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Collins, seconded by Councilman Poznanski. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. So, this resolution is to execute a shared services agreement with North Brunswick. Again, at a monthly fee of $1,250, and then there's an additional $75. So I have a problem paying the $1,250 to North Brunswick. Again, I think I've mentioned this previously. We have been good neighbors to North Brunswick for over 2 years with the use of our courtroom. And in doing that and being good neighbors, we've never asked for $1 from North Brunswick, so I don't understand why we're paying them $1,250 and then tacking on another $75. What's the $75 for? Does anyone know? Councilman Potter, you're part of finance. Councilman Collins, you're part of finance.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I was not aware of it, and it's $75 per hour for additional services. It was my understanding that we were gonna have the $12.50 a month, but not the $75 an hour. So my issue with that is who's gonna monitor that $75 an hour? Is it gonna be our BA, our CFO, our head of finance? And how is that gonna be built? So I have an issue with that $75 for additional fees as well.
So the $75, if you look at, Section 6 of this agreement, this is the $75 is for North Brunswick's chief financial officer. So we're not only paying our part-time CFO, but we're also going to pay North Brunswick's CFO.
If I may, last week when we spoke with Councilman Revelinsky, he kind of clued me in more maybe on some of this. So the $12.50 is the standard.
Respectfully, it's a standard, but Councilman Collins and Councilman Potter both say that they didn't know anything about this. And we're being asked to vote on this tonight.
Last week, or last meeting, this was mentioned, the 75 is over a certain amount of hours.
This contract was not available last week. That's the problem.
Can I ask who was involved in the negotiations here? Because I don't know that anyone on council was.
Can I just have you talk into the microphone, please? Sorry.
I'd like to know who's in the negotiations. Actually, 108 and 109 work together, and I really wasn't aware of negotiations. Maybe we should have been aware, because they both work together. I have questions, other people have questions. Would anyone else like to respond?
I believe the $75 was for the CFO's hourly rate. I just don't know how we're going to monitor this.
Well, Rich told me we'll have to go by his word. Councilman Revelinsky said that.
If I may, looking at the agreement, it looks like the $75 an hour looks like it needs to be approved in advance based upon an estimate of the number of hours that will be needed. Just looks like it's section 2 of that contract. So if you're going to exceed what was the allotted hours, and the allotted hours change based upon the time of year it is, you get 10 to 12 hours a month for 10 months, I believe, and then you get 15 hours a month for 2 of the months. They have to, there has to be a presentation of the anticipated number of hours, the reason, and then it needs to be approved by Milltown. So it's not as if you're going to be in a situation where someone gives you a bill because somebody spent an extra 3 hours this month and you're not sure where it was or how it happened. That's just so you can understand the nature of how that seems to be handled from a logistical basis under this agreement.
So Councilman Poznanski, to answer your main question, so this conversation started between our mayor and the mayor of North Brunswick. Okay, and as the mayor mentioned last time at the council meeting that he's under the impression, he's told that if you look at the agreements, there's a $1,200 payment to Brunswick for the financial services of their CFO, and for the next 3 months, that payment is sort of washed in the shared services agreement with use of the court, which is also $1,250. So for the next 3 months, beginning April, May, and June, under North Brunswick's theory or thought that, based not what you're told, but what they're telling me, or what they told the mayor, was that they're going to be done and out of here. Just going with what they told me.
I understand,
Okay.
and I also...
All right, I'm just saying, that if I may. So the conversation, as I mentioned last week, during the last council meeting, is that we hired a finance officer who needs assistance from his CFO since he's never had that opportunity to do those things. This agreement allows for that finance officer in North Brunswick to assist Mr. Joe, CFO Joe, during the work hours, all right? Sort of, it allows for work after hours, or if Joe has to take some time and work at his desk, then it's okay with North Brunswick that he flexes his hours, okay, up at North Brunswick to come here, or versa vice. You know, comes here early, then goes there, as long as they get their hours, we get our work done. Because his contract as a part-time CFO does not have specific hours set in it, like mine, okay? It's just to do the job. So, for instance, he was online this weekend a bunch with myself and Monica, talked to me last Wednesday, like at 7 o'clock at night. You know, we're having a nice long chat, you know, while I'm already home. But be as it may, that's the intent of the shared services agreement. And most of the negotiation took place between the mayors, and I came in along with Peter at the end to sort of flesh out the numbers and the details. But I was not part of the conversation initially.
And if he doesn't work out, we've gone through numerous CFOs. How does his contract go if he doesn't work out?
The current CFO that was appointed the last council meeting,
Yes.
that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Well, then like any other municipal employee, you know, if it doesn't work out, then, I mean, he's doing okay so far, but he's only been on the job 2 weeks, okay? Compared to the other CFOs, he's outlasted them by 2 weeks. So I think he's doing fine. So, you know, from a time standpoint.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying they're using our courts. So if he does not work out, what happens with the situation?
Then that deal's over. That's why there are 2 separate agreements, okay? Part of the conversation that I had with the CFO and the BA in North Brunswick, that if the mayors want to have one of these situations where it washes, at the end of the day, it should be 2 separate standalone agreements, so that if one doesn't work, the other one is still valid. Okay, let's just say that tomorrow, they wake up and say, forget it. We don't want to do this. Then the current shared service agreement that the council is going to vote on tonight, requiring Brunswick to pay for this courtroom, then still stands in effect. Is that not correct, Mr. Lee?
That is correct.
Thank you, sir. Now, that you did not get invited or brought into the conversation, or you did not know what's going on, I can't address that, Councilman. I mean,
You know, this sounds like Franklin Roosevelt. He says, I got a deal, but I didn't say it was a good one. You know?
like I said, I wasn't part of the negotiation. I just got to fill out the details.
But Councilman Collins is part of finance.
Yes, sir. I totally
Councilman
understand.
Potter's part of finance. It would have been good to give him a little heads up before looking at this for the first time tonight. And I go back to the same thing, that we've been good neighbors for 2 years, and so that we're all on the same page here, we were not going to continue to be good neighbors as of January 1st of this year, because our former BA and CFO had been reaching out to the BA there and not getting any sort of collaboration. So this would have ended. Not faulting North Brunswick for the situation that they're in, things happen, right? But we've been good neighbors for 2 years. I have a problem paying $1,250 to North Brunswick, plus another $75 for the use of their CFO, because his guy is our part-time CFO. I have a problem with that.
Yes, sir.
I
To
also-
quote my statement from 2 weeks ago, whatever the council wants to do.
So, Mr. Carr,
Sure.
like I asked before, how's this gonna be monitored, the $75 an hour over?
Over the hours that are in there, they have to invoice us.
Okay,
They'll invoice us.
so who's gonna monitor that?
That would be something that's on my plate along with the other 95 things I'm doing. Tomorrow I'll be, stuffing envelopes for the bill list.
That's what I'm worried about as well.
Yes.
So,
We can fix that, but, okay.
I want to say, myself and the rest of the people here, the men up here, we're accountable to the people that voted for us. So we need to ask questions.
Absolutely.
The problem is we, by law, have to have a CFO.
Yes, sir.
We do have one. We appointed one at the last meeting. My problem is this $1,250 plus another $75 to use their CFO when we need him. That's my problem.
Like I said, it wasn't a good deal, but
Seeing no further discussion, will clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins.
reluctantly, aye.
Councilman Menko.
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski.
No.
Councilman Potter.
no.
Councilman Zambrana.
No.
Will the clerk please read Resolution 24-109 by title?
2024-109, authorizing execution of facility use agreement, North Brunswick Township Municipal Court.
What is the pleasure of council? Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to defeat. Make a motion to be adopted.
Somebody want a second?
Any second?
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Collins, seconded by Councilman Poznanski. Is there any discussion?
I can't help but think that if even though there are two separate agreements, if it's designed to be a wash, if we're going to renegotiate one side, or we're going to attempt to find something amicable that the council can agree upon, I would imagine we should probably, we either take the check now, so to speak, or we come to a new balance on it and see how we're going to move forward with it. But is adopting this counterproductive to just changing it when we do go back and look at the other side again?
I don't think we should be paying $1,250 to North Brunswick. That's,
And I get that, and I'm kind of okay with that. I do see where maybe we need to, present it properly. I guess he's got to say something to his town for a service that he has to, he's making an accommodation.
as Councilman Collins said, it's not a good deal, it's a bad deal. It's all one-sided.
And I get that. There's 2 years there that,
Yeah,
that maybe we could try and work something out on.
I think they should be good neighbors, just like we have for 2 years.
And I do think originally the extended, the attempts to contact the BA over there and work out a deal with them didn't work out, which is why it went mayor to mayor. But that doesn't mean we can't revisit it. I get where 2 years is a long time. And, we provided for them and probably ongoing.
Again, we're beholden to the voters in town that put us right here. That's the bottom line.
I agree. I mean, on our agenda, we're paying South Brunswick for shared services, North Brunswick for shared services, and South River for shared services. 2.5 years, we got nothing, and now they want to go for another 6 months? I can't agree with this motion, I'm sorry. It's like Councilman Pozinski said, it's not in the best interest of the taxpayers. You know, we're sharing, but now they don't want to share with us, you know?
I have an issue with how this is written. My first question is the September 30th. So the last agreement was September 30th, 2023. This agreement will continue from April 1st, 2024 till September 30th, 2024. Is there something with the September 30th? Or can we just go to the end of the year? And also, too, they say they're going to pay the $12.50 a month through June 30th, 2024, or, you know, a time where they're out of the court. So, again, and that has to be 30 days in advance as well. So again, who's going to monitor? I just don't like the way this is written. You know, why couldn't it go to the end of the year and then have their payment through the end of the year with 30 days notice? It's just, they're only going to, it's saying here they're only going to pay us for the 3 months and go till September 30th, but we all know it may not go to September 30th. It may go to the end of the year, and it was missed last time. We've been out of contract since September 30th, 2023. So that's why I have an issue the way this is written.
I spoke to someone, an official over there, and they told me 1.5 to 2 years. And I went by the building today, and if anybody wants to take a guess, in 3 months, take a look.
I have to agree, it does not seem 3 months is feasible, and, you know, I've heard estimates of a year and a half. I guess, you know, if we're going to try and renegotiate it, maybe we should try to come up with a reasonable goal. You know, it is worth a mention to say there are 2 years of free goodwill. Can we get some of that on our side? It certainly is, certainly a reasonable statement. The being is, I guess, they negotiated it and was opening the conversations. If finance wants to weigh in on it, finance is certainly allowed to. Certainly, conversation should happen. But maybe we should have some type of parameters of what we want going into that conversation. A good negotiation is where everybody loses or gives up a little bit. We can certainly see if we can get more out of it, I would think. Did we want to table this perhaps until such a time as we get?
Well, we already have a motion and a second.
So someone will need to withdraw the motion and the second.
Or
in
vote
order to
on
table
this.
it.
Or just vote on it?
Voted down or voted up?
Yeah, you voted down, but I mean.
Voted down.
Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins?
No.
Councilman Menko?
No.
Councilman Poznanski?
No?
Councilman Potter?
No.
Councilman Zambrana?
No.
Okay, will the clerk please read resolution 24-110 by title?
Resolution 2024-110, authorizing execution of shared services with South River Municipal Court Services.
What is the pleasure of council?
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Collins, seconded by Councilman Potter. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this sum of $67,500 seems excessive. I mean, we just have a part-time court, basically, right? We have our judges part-time, our prosecutors part-time. And we did have a full-time person in the, I guess, the office over there. This seems like a lot of money. I mean, are we required by law to have an executor for the court?
So this is for the court administrator. You're required to have so it's a fundamental question, Councilman. Do you want to have court in Milltown, yes or no? Okay, so where we are right now is that we have been unsuccessful in hiring a deputy court administrator. The person who's currently in there has taken a promotion or a lateral promotion to go to Union County to accept a job which allows him to decrease his commute. And for all of us who've driven in New Jersey, decreasing your commute is a good thing.
He's also not an employee.
He's also not, so,
Are we-
he's not an employee, so,
Right.
Sean is not an employee, the person who's working there right now, and in about a week or 10 days, without somebody there in the court, we will have no court. That's what the judge has told us.
Right, is there an
And
opportunity, or we're gonna, find a candidate to put in that position?
so we have been unsuccessful last year and this year to find a full-time court administrator and to find a deputy court administrator. And we reached out to both Highland Park and South River to see if they would be interested in having a shared services agreement with us. We did not receive a response back from Highland Park. We did receive one from South River. We went back and forth with a day here, a day and a half here, those kinds of things, what kind of access, and we've hit, and this is the number. So the 67.5 predominantly is a day and a half's wages, if you could. Okay, if you want to get all biblical, right? So about a day's wages for the person that works in South River is about $25,000. That $25,000 includes their salary and all those benefits that are required by the borough to pay. Pension and health care, FICA. If you looked at your pay stub lately, there's 8 or 9 things coming out of it that have nothing to do with getting paid. So about a day in South River for that person to be here we owe them about 25. And if it's a day and a half, then we owe them 30, 12 and a half, which is half of 25, so about 37.5 to pay them back for the person to work here. And then FICA and all the rest of that took it up to about 40, and then we have the number where we have to pay her, actually, it is a lady, to take on this additional work and responsibility.
So,
I mean, we gave out 200 tickets just during a snowstorm. That's a lot of work.
right, so what you're saying is if we don't pass this, we can't run the court here?
Well, it's very simple. We just won't have a court. Then we'd have to transfer the court and all those issues and that to some other municipality.
And that 67.5 is an annual cost for the court administrator for a day and a half. Correct, Mr. Carr?
Physical presence here a day and a half, and then, the opportunity, we talk about remote work. So the court's allowed to, a court administrator, so the court system, counsel, is a closed, secure server system, so that if the court administrator is sitting in South River, according to this, in accordance with this court document here, or the shared services agreement, they can log in as if they were sitting next door. Okay? Do Milltown work while in South River, because it's a separate standalone system. It's like signing in your computer, right? But it's secure. It's not just your laptop at home. Okay? So whether she's working there or working here, it's the same login to do the work to get the job done for Milltown.
Who negotiated this agreement?
Again, predominantly between the mayors of South River and Milltown. And then
No
I got
input?
to come in later on to make sure that the mayors had the right numbers.
No input from the Personnel Committee.
I was not invited to any of those personnel meetings, as Councilman Potter knows. They have these lovely meetings, they last 3 or 4 hours. I don't need to be there, thank you, that's just a plug from me. I do not need to be at a 4-hour meeting with the Personnel Committee. Thank you,
And
appreciate
you
the invite.
were included in the meeting with the attorney, the
So
VAs?
I get brought in last week for a
Yep.
quick update to make sure the number's all right, to make sure the intent is right, but most of that's done by the
So
mayor and the mayor.
So not really personnel, but more finance. So my question is, can we afford this number?
Can you not? So the answer is, yes, you can. We don't have a budget yet, so the number can go into the budget, but you will lose revenue if you don't have court. And, you don't pass ordinances, you don't write tickets to pay the bills, but if you don't write tickets, then the money's going to go to somebody else.
So why is it taking so long to find this person?
Our salary range is too low.
Union employee?
Currently a union employee, yes. The court administrator and the deputy court administrator in a union contract, but the salary that we offer here in Milltown, we did not get any candidates based on a union contract. We did have a possible memorandum of agreement, sort of an exception to policy last week, but that person backed out.
Yeah, The
2
question,
weeks ago.
so the question I'm going to ask you is the obvious question. Do we take in enough revenue to cover this 67,000?
I haven't been here long enough to answer that question,
No,
but I think so,
I hope so.
because you wouldn't have it, but yes. I can tell you that the only thing that you don't get your money back in the courts is that we cannot charge people who pay their tickets online using a credit card, we can't charge them the fee. That's mandated by the state. But most likely we'll break even, or pretty close thereof. We should not be making a profit in the court. Just my personal
But
opinion.
we will provide this person, who's not an employee of Milltown, to work remotely on an as-needed basis.
Yes, sir.
But we do not allow that to the borough employees.
So we do allow it to borough employees because the borough employees, we have not changed the rules yet, as you remember.
Well-
We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
There is some conversation about some people object to it, but until it's changed formally by the council, we do it. Monica did it over the weekend. I did it, okay? Lots of people do it since I've been here because it's either one or two choices. Either A, allow them to work remotely, or B, you don't get any work done.
Or we lose people,
Well, that too.
and we've already lost someone because of this policy.
Seeing no further discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilman Manco.
Aye.
Councilman Poznanski.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Hell no.
Okay, reports from elected officials. Council President Revlinski, does anybody have his report? No? Councilman Collins?
No reports, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Manco?
I do have some things that were discussed at the library, and the library does have some things that they wanted to mention as well. So I did speak with the librarian in their meeting the week before last, and it is good to know that at some point we expect to have a librarian manned or staffed at JK in their library, which right now, the library at JK, that one librarian splits duty between Parkview and JK, and with that, I think Parkview needs more management as the kids are younger. So that will be a better utilization of that resource. Beyond that, the library, just runs themselves very well. They do some financial forecasting. They do some good investing. They solicit donations, and they really are very self-sufficient, quite an organization. I really never noticed anything like that from the outside in before. But just to mention, on Wednesday, March 27th, there will be after-school bingo at 3 p.m. There will be a showing of The Karate Kid on Thursday, March 28th at 3 p.m., and they will provide snacks. There will be yoga on Tuesday, April 2nd at 9:15 a.m. with Marcy. Please call the library or visit the library website to register. There are some spring break programs, including edible book cover art for kids grades 1 through 4 at 11 a.m. on April 3rd. Registration is required. And on Wednesday, April 3rd, there will also be bingo for kids, grades 4 through 8 at 3 p.m. Thursday the 4th, also another edible book cover art for teens, grades 4 through 8 at 3 p.m. And Saturday, April 6th, there will be Let's Talk Solar Eclipse, which is a program featuring NASA's Solar System Ambassador Isaac Azores. Registration is required for most of these events. For those video game enthusiasts, April 8th, there's a 3 to 5 p.m. Minecraft at the library, a program for kids 4 to 8 to learn how to build a cannon on the computer and compete for high scores and accuracy. And the library will, of course, be closed on March 29th and Saturday the 30th, and the staff wishes everyone a happy Easter. Additional from Rec Department, the Milltown Devils Night is sold out, which we're very happy about. They really got very good feedback on that, a lot of enthusiasm, and that'll be happening soon. They're still looking for people to fill their spots for summer employment at Albert Ave and the Borough Pool. The application is available online, and it is fillable online. So take a look there. Registration for the camp and the pool will be open by mid-April, and they just wish to thank everyone for their continued support. Additional to that, I will say that I met with Dorian and the Green Team. She's very active in trying to get some grants for us, some other things to be done. And then also, the Environmental Committee is moving forward with their Earth Day, programs. That'll be done on April 20th. In the hard schedule events and time, he's kind of waiting for them.
Councilman Poznanski.
Sure. First, I'm going to talk about the DPW.
Can you just talk into the microphone?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We survived the rains very well this weekend on Saturday. They were very prepared, and some of the men were in to make sure that things went well. I went over to the waterfall. I was there 3 times. I saw the fire department there, so they were checking in also. And fortunately, everything went well. They have 2 new trucks that came in last week, and one is a garbage truck. You can't miss it. It's a medium blue, bright blue. I stopped by the Schwindman property today, and the guys are in there, full force, cutting trees and cleaning debris. And the same is true of the old DPW. If you go in and take a look at it, and I'd recommend for the citizens in town to see your tax dollars at work. As far as the senior center, I don't have a lot tonight, but I will say that I'd like to thank Debbie Cuddy for being the director. She's been there for over 20 years, and she's very dedicated. And Bob Skarzinski, he's been the president for 18 years, over 18 years, and I can't imagine anyone better doing the job. And then there's Donna, the bus driver, because I wanted to make sure I included her. She takes the seniors around to wherever the events are. And also, again, we're working on the grants. I know Dorian has been working on the grants for the front of the building, and I've been working with Ralph, and we're still working on getting the shed, gazebo, pavers, and other miscellaneous things. So everything's going well, and that concludes my report.
Councilman Potter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From the Milltown Police Department, residential security. As a reminder, the Milltown Police Department are assisting residents with home security risk assessment. This is free of charge. If requested, one of the Milltown Police Department community affairs officers will come to your home, discuss vulnerabilities, and help you come up with options to improve your home security. To request a risk assessment, please contact Lieutenant Carmen DiLorenzo at cdilorenzo@milltownpd.org. So far, a few residents have scheduled this assessment, and we would like to encourage more of our residents to do so. In regard to this past Friday morning's raid on South Main Street, Chief Johnson communicated to me, the mayor, and the rest of the council the following. The FBI conducted a high-profile raid that was unannounced and came as a complete surprise to the Milltown Police Department. It occurred at the worst time with the morning rush and children walk into school. Chief Johnson has since been in contact with their leadership to express his concerns about their lack of communication. They apologized and will work with the Milltown Police Department in the future to prevent a reoccurrence. Although these issues occurred, in the end, a dangerous criminal was apprehended in a short amount of time with no injuries. From the Milltown Fire Department, the annual flower sale located at the fire department will be this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or while supplies last. And as a follow-up to the governor's grant that was recently awarded, this grant goes solely toward full sets of fire gear, which costs a little over $6,000 per set. Over the past 2 years, we received 2 grants, and we've been able to purchase 17 sets, because we've got to buy one, get one free, totaling over $102,000 at no cost to our taxpayers. Members are needed. Any candidates interested in joining the Milltown Fire Department are encouraged to stop by the firehouse on Monday nights at 6:30 or email joinmilltownfire@gmail.com. Milltown Rescue Squad and Public Safety Committee, no new updates. And Milltown 4th of July. Tickets are now available for the Milltown 4th of July Organization Celebrity Bartender event at the American Legion, Post 25 on April 20th. Tickets can be purchased online via the Milltown 4th of July website and/or Facebook page, and will be available in the following locations in the near future: Mike's Country Market, Maria's, Milltown Convenience, Rescue by Lacey, and Bagel Express. And I actually have tickets with me tonight. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Zambrana.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 2 short announcements. Board of Health meeting will be tomorrow in person here at Borough Hall in the conference room in the back. There will be a time change from 7:30 PM to 6:30 PM. All are welcome. Environmental Committee will be in person on Wednesday, special meeting to go over some Earth Day activities. So that'll be at 6:30 PM, and then hybrid, as usual, will continue at 7:30 PM. And Councilman Poznanski, I'd like to thank you for bringing up the fact that we did receive a new utility truck, and we did receive our garbage truck, which was thankfully budgeted for under our capital plan by the Finance Committee 2 years ago. That was put into place by our former BA and CFO, and it was great for her to put that in because we knew it would take a while because of COVID, and good to see it come in. Thank you.
Reports from the Borough Professionals. Peter Vignola.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
See me?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 items to report tonight. The first being an update on the West Foch Avenue improvements, and that is the sewer main replacement has been completed. The contractor is currently removing and replacing sewer laterals and water surfaces. That work's expected to be completed this week, and he's going to be moving on to installing the under drains underneath the roadway. Second item to report is, and we're pleased to report, the Hague and Patain improvements have been completed, and the final closeout documents have been submitted to the borough for processing. That's all we have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Borough Clerk.
Just a couple quick things. Petitions were due today for the primary at 4 PM. And we always need poll workers, like I advertise every single meeting. I actually just created a fillable form. If you go to our borough website, go to the clerk. On the clerk's page, go to elections, and right at the top it says, if you want to be a poll worker, click here. You can fill it out, email it, drop it off. We're always looking for poll workers. Please come work. And that's all I have.
Yeah.
I've said enough, thank you.
Old business. Does any member of council have any old business to bring before council?
I'd like to bring up something. It may be old business. If it's not, I'll move it. I was over at the Beaver Dam Park, and it closed in August of 2023, and it's opening May 5th of this year. They've remediated the contaminated grounds, and I'd like to know if they have spoken to anyone here as far as if some of that may have leached into the mill pond. And I'd just like to know also if anyone has been in touch to keep us informed of the remediation. Okay.
Sounds like a no.
I guess I'll move on.
Okay, new business. Does any member of council have any new business to bring before
Did you have
council?
anything else to say, or? Yes, Mr. Mayor. It's on here, the renaming of Lanny Lane. Milltown tradition is to name a street after any veterans killed in battle in a war. And Gary Rittman from the Senior Center, he's a disabled Vietnam veteran. His father served with this gentleman from Milltown, Paul W. Core. He was originally from Pennsylvania, but apparently he moved in a street on the north side, and he was a resident here for 45 days, and he was killed in action in Italy on December 4th, 1943. And I think it would be an honor if we renamed the street after him, and being that Lanny Lane has no houses and will only cost us minimal amount of money, that we could rename the street after him. Corporal Paul W. Core, killed in action World War II.
Do we need?
If the council were so inclined, we could prepare an ordinance to do that, but I just need some direction. obviously. So,
Obviously.
I can,
Will
I can,
we need a vote on that, or just prepare the ordinance?
I can prepare I can prepare it. I mean, if you guys all kind of nod your heads yes and sound like something you want to do, yeah, I'll put it together, it'll be ready for your next agenda.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Put it in the books.
I'll remind you, don't worry.
I'm getting older, I forget stuff.
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker is finished. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium.
Richard Ryan, 60 South Main Street. Mr. Mayor, council members, professionals, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to be here again, frankly. 2 weeks ago, the last council meeting, there was a little bit of dialogue with regard to the situation that we find ourselves in on South Main Street. And in the 2 weekends since, we have been in exactly the same position as we were before. So, 2 weeks ago, there was some question as to a violation or a summons that had been issued. It's my understanding now that the summons was set aside for a period of 6 months. And if nothing similar, I guess, were to happen, that potentially it would be set aside for good. I've taken some steps to try and talk to the prosecutor. I haven't been able to do that yet. I expect to soon. And I know that Mayor and Council has been advised every 2 weeks for the past 3 months to be cautious and not discuss it because it's pending litigation. However, if not for me coming here and pointing it out for the record, would anybody know that St. Paul's Church continues to completely disregard the law of the land here? All right? Now, some may say, it's not that big a deal. You know, it's a zoning violation. It's a violation. I bet you I'd get one. I bet you I would have had to be here in court, you know? And if I violated it the very next week, I bet you I'd be back here before somebody who was a little bit angry to see me again. So I don't know where I need to go at this point, other than what I've communicated thus far. And I continually come up here and thank everybody for the time. But I believe that I'm in a position where it's quite comfortable that mayor and council don't have to address this issue. Okay, because I have to continue to have this fight when the church continues to completely violate not even the spirit or the intent, the actual zoning law. So I am hopeful that between now and the next council meeting that some steps will be taken, though I know that would be a private discussion or dialogue based on advice of counsel. But I'm still looking for help. I have not gotten, since coming here, since the beginning of January, on issues that we know have been going on since last May. Okay? So the setting aside of a violation for 6 months that is being, in my opinion, completely disregarded as of now, how long do we wait? Do I come every 2 weeks for the next 6 months and ask for help?
I have the information, Mr. Ryan, and I will pass it along to the appropriate individual, and they will take whatever steps they deem are appropriate based upon their position. So, that's all I can do.
I thank you for your help, I appreciate it. I'm
Rich,
hoping, go ahead.
is this ongoing?
Ongoing.
Saturday night?
This past Saturday, the weekend before that,
Do you know what time it ended Saturday night?
I don't.
Around?
I don't know what time it ended.
Noise?
It went on all day. It's not even a matter of that. We have some residents who came down and spoke, right, about their feeling of a given noise level versus how somebody else may see it or hear it in this case. That's not the issue, respectfully. The issue is that it's a violation of the zoning ordinance. They're not supposed to be in that facility for those events. End of story. They've been violated once. It's been set aside.
And they've been told about the violations?
To the best of my
This isn't a
knowledge,
question and answer, Gary.
to the best of my knowledge,
Speak, please.
they have been. So I don't want to come here every 2 weeks any more than you guys want to see me.
I mean, he's got a valid question, you know?
And I've taken the information, I'll make sure that I speak with our zoning officer regarding this. I don't know whether he was aware of things that were supposed to have occurred, I don't know what type of events they were, so there may be a little more information that needs to be obtained. I know that our zoning officer has spoken in the past with Mr. Ryan, I know he knows how to get a hold of him, so I'm sure if we need more information from Mr. Ryan, he will be more than happy to provide it to the zoning officer. That is the individual who is tasked with looking at that and taking care of that. So I will pass it along to him. I'm sure he'll be in touch with you.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank God we have a full-time zoning
Mr. Ryan?
officer.
Could I talk to you after the meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, portion of the public portion is closed. Is there any council comments?
Yes.
Well, then come up here.
Hello, Charles Ronick, 322 South Main Street. Just wanted to say that, as usual, we really owe our churches, all of our churches, a lot of our respect and grace, and we should be thankful for them here. They have done enormous amounts of things for our community, and they're having a hard time with, raising funds and stuff. So we need to support them any way we can and stop vilifying them. And I think it's the duty of council and mayor to support our religious institutions no matter what. And yeah, thank you.
Russ Onbinder, 152A North Main Street. Just want to come here as a representative, actually as a president of the Milltown Lions Club, and want to say how impressed we all are, how many people, mostly kids, obviously, but a lot of adults too with them, showed up. A bunch of you up there, Lions, right in front of me, and our mayor was there helping too as well. And it was a wonderful event that we were able to do, even though Mother Nature decided to pour on us. And for those of you that are not on social media, which is fine, you don't have to be, I noticed something about our town that I want to make public here too, and that is, this year on July 4th, we had a nasty amount of rain in the afternoon, that people showed up and stayed and had a great time, and we still did the fireworks, right? Anybody remember what happened in the morning on Milltown Day here? How wet it was, disgusting? What do? We showed up and had a great day. We went to do the tree lighting this year in December. What happened? We lit the tree in the pouring rain. So guess what? We weren't going to let the egg hunt that's been going on for almost 90 years in Milltown not happen. And all I want to say is I want to thank everybody for not letting us down and for keeping Milltown there. Thank you.
Neil Murata, 54 Van Loo. Just had a question based on a common interchange that occurred here. I believe that Councilman Poznanski had started a question with Mr. Rydstrom, and Mayor, you had commented that there was no question and answer, or,
It's not structured that way,
but,
but it's not Rydstrom, it's Ryan.
yes, thank you for the
But-
correction. Yes, both Rich. Sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
But
So,
I think what he's looking for the information for is he can take it offline.
no, that's not my question.
Okay.
My question is, why wouldn't a council person be able to ask questions if they have to? That's what they were elected for. So if they want to come up and ask questions, I understand there's no requirement that this body answer a question. However, if they feel the need and it's for the benefit of the residents, I would hope that they would do so. The other question I had is, how many municipalities did we approach for court administrator shared services?
I was asked to call Highland Park and South River.
Okay, is there any reason why we didn't call every single one in Middlesex County? We
I
don't know.
believe some of the things that I overheard, and again, I know we're not question and answer, but sometimes the size of the municipality, when they dwarf us, that doesn't really seem to work well.
Yeah,
And then some of it is just distance. If they're going to be, locale, if they're going to be doing a day and a half, it wouldn't seem, someone from Morristown or,
well, Morristown's not
somewhere far.
Middlesex, but
I'm just pulling things out of my head, but,
Yeah.
there's a reason that they can't keep it local and keep it to similar sized towns who need or may like that shared service, whereas other towns, they don't need our money.
well, my recommendation would be, it's the larger towns that you want to go to because they have more staff. Okay, they have more deputy court clerks. I believe East Brunswick, I think, has at least 2 or 3.
Well, if they're working,
down the
if they're
road.
not working on site also, does it matter where they are? If
It
they're
doesn't
not-
matter. You're right. Although I don't know if there's a requirement, I would defer to council, whether there's a requirement that they have some time on site.
I know that the judge wanted 1.5 days in person.
Okay.
That was what our municipal court judge asked for as an element of any shared service that we had. So that's where that number came from.
And the judge does have the opportunity to run his court, or her court. But again, it's those other municipalities where you may have had a better opportunity to obtain services at a more reasonable price. Because $67,000 is a lot of money.
Yep.
For a day and a half.
Yep.
So, all right, thank you very much.
Okay, try it again. We'll close the public portion of the meeting. Council comments, is there anyone on council that would like to bring up at this
Yes.
time?
I'm going to talk about the meeting we had 2 weeks ago, and I brought up something that was very uncomfortable, talking about the pastor. And I've had people come up to me since, want to know, some of the people knew it was me that brought this up, because I did, and other people didn't. They said, why are you going after the clergy in town? Some people said, why are you going after the churches in town? But other people have also spread that this is what I'm doing, and anybody who would know me would know that I don't do something like that, like what I did last week. Very uncomfortable. The whole meeting for me was very uncomfortable. And I don't willingly go after anyone. I also want to bring up something else. New Jersey has state aids coming for the schools, and we have an increase this year of over 35%. And I'd like to know how, if anyone is looking into this, how it will affect the budget proposal, because I did see the numbers. I do have the exact numbers. And the schools receive approximately 66% of the tax dollars in town. And I'd like to know how we go forward here. I think we deserve a serious discussion in fairness to the residents and taxpayers of the town. Anyone that has comments?
Well, I can say, so as we met with the Board of Education and we had a meeting scheduled earlier this year, and that was
Well, do you know
postponed.
about do you know about this money that's coming?
Yes, yes. Well, let me say it this way. I found out much the same way that anybody else would find out in public record, simply that it's publicly posted. What they're going to do with the money, or any of those things, the nature of being the Board of Ed, they are not subservient to anybody. They are their own.
Yeah, well, this is also taxpayer money coming back to us.
But no, it doesn't come back, so the word "us" is figurative, because we're not, the Board of Education is independent. And there's not much, that's always been the way it is. We can't force them to do things. They are their own organization.
Well,
They even have their own tax
Come up
levy.
for public discussion.
What kind of, if you'd like to join us at a board meeting, the Board of Ed meeting,
Yeah,
we
I'll
can
come
certainly
to the
arrange
meeting
that.
and I'll bring this
It's
up.
public. You can always go.
That's right.
And if you'd like, next time, I know we are attempting to probably schedule another sit-down with them. Me and the liaison and the mayor met with the superintendent and 3 or 4 other people on that board, and did discuss some matters or try and, again, we can't mandate as the council, even as a town, we can't mandate or force anything from them.
This is a discussion. That's what this is. That's why I'm bringing this, that's why I'm bringing this up. I didn't know if anyone else up here knows about this, though.
Oh, yeah, I saw the post on public media, and I assumed, relatively, I mean, even there it was asked, like, what do you think they're going to do with it? I know they are planning, at the Board of Education meeting last Monday, they have a $1.2 million renovation that is happening, because what started out, they're doing 15,000 square feet of their roof this summer. Last year, I believe they did 5,000, so this is a bigger scope of the roof, and that should take them through what they consider the next 10 years. There is also they were doing a tuck point project on the brick, on the area regarding, or closest to their, to the staff parking lot, which, after the contractors looked at it, it became apparent they would have to replace brick and probably some windows to stop some of the water seepage as an ongoing issue that they have.
Well, isn't that covered in the 66% that they get from us?
Well, yes, but I'm not sure what that has to do with money that the government is giving at a future point. And again, these are great questions for the board.
But you're a taxpayer
For the
too.
board.
How do you feel about that?
You know what I feel is that I don't like that my school, basically the ratings of the school, I will say that I just think we can do better. But we don't have, again, as a council, including all of us, as a council, can't direct what they do. It is, to me, it seems a strange situation that at the town meetings or these meetings, we don't get that many people. You go to a Board of Education meeting, and if there are 6 people there, it is likely the MEA, which is in negotiation for their contract, that will be taking up half of the seats that are there. They're, as a board, they don't really display a lot. They don't really advertise any of their actions. But then again, how often do we go to their website and see what's on there? But, as far as I've always heard from when I've been in this town, and apparently that's the way it goes in most towns, is that the Board of Education is independent of, because it really shouldn't be, it is thought to not be subject to politics. Private education is guaranteed, public education is guaranteed under our Constitution. So as a town, we don't get to mandate, or as a government, we don't get to mandate. Interestingly, I noticed that Kissinger, not Kissinger, but Nixon, was the first president to want to have an organized daycare for young kids. And as soon as he went to China and realized that that was the way that they cultivated their youth, he decided to skip out on that and move away from putting kids to pre-K and things like that as a public education. Because if you mix government and education,
How is that relevant with this discussion?
Well, I'm just saying that we don't control it. As being on the council, we have no input on what they do. We can't mandate anything. And as for what they're going to do with that money, I'm sure in their next budget, they may have some thoughts on that.
Well, you as a taxpayer would really want to know what they're going to do with that budget.
Yes.
Okay?
And I'm sure when they say it, I'll know. But at this moment, as you mentioned, it's coming, right? So I don't know what they're going to do with it. Yeah. I'm not sure who the target of the conversation is. But Monday nights, I'll send you an email in the next meeting.
Okay.
I believe it runs concurrent with the council meeting, that is a problem.
I'd like to,
They used to run at 7 o'clock on Mondays, don't they?
They do. They missed one that they had, but last Monday they had one.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring up a couple more things. Due to changing times and especially a very dangerous situation that occurred last week in town, I think we need to have a mechanism to know in units of 2 or more families who's residing in Milltown so as not to put our residents and our law enforcement at risk, as happened last week with the FBI raid.
They don't tell the borough or anybody when they're going to run an operation.
That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm saying that you have legal or illegal 2 or more family homes in town, there's got to be a way we can find people that are living in town. That could be possibly the person that they arrested last week.
The zoning officer.
Like you say, your issue is with single-family homes being used as two-family homes?
Single or, if they're legal, or 2 or more family homes that are legal, but harboring fugitives, harboring people like this.
Certainly I don't know that anybody wants fugitives being harbored in the borough, but I'm not sure how,
Well, okay, but a single-family home that's split with, there's one close to me, there are three families living in a small, single-family home.
And as long as they occupy that home as a single housing unit, as long as they act like a family, they can all live there.
There are 3 different families.
You need to speak to the zoning officer.
Yeah, it's a zoning question as to how they occupy, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I have one last thing. This is for people in the dais, and I'll say especially me, because I'm including myself. The citizens entrusted us with their votes, putting us on this dais. We need to earn their votes every day. The people that work for the borough, including the volunteers such as the fire department, the rescue squad, we need to earn their respect every day. And we need to lead by example, unselfishly, every day. And I'll start with me. So,
I'd just like to thank the DPW workers, Ralph and Councilman Pozinski, for cleaning up the former borough public works area, and with fishing season coming around, it'll be quite a nice place for kids to have more fishing area in town.
thank you.
Thank you.
I have no comment, thank you.
Just to wish our residents a happy Easter this coming weekend.
I will second that motion. Happy Easter. And I gotta tell you, I enjoyed the several breakfasts that I've been having in town. I was pleased to enjoy some pierogies for breakfast, which is not my standard. A lot of good things happen in town, and we are very lucky to just to have that. And as I explained to my daughter this weekend, because she was kind of like, do we have to go? And I'm like, yes. Because all those things we do during the summer, where there's a lot of great stuff, 4th of July's and all these good things, they all stem from all these other good things that we go and donate to with a little time, a little money, and just a little happy appearance that comes back to us in this town.
And we thank our volunteers that do that.
Amen.
I'd like to say something else. I'd like to thank the fire department for inviting me to their dinner. I neglected to thank them last time. And I also like to thank our business administrator, Fred Carr, for being here, and our municipal clerk, Monica Orlando for being here. Thank you very much for what you do, being dedicated professionals. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Collins, seconded by Councilman Potter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?